Welcome to our first episode of what we're calling Setting the Record Straight. Today's hot take, trophy hunting is the best form of hunting. Let's set the record straight. So welcome, everybody, to I guess our first episode of what we're calling Setting the Record Straight. I'm Connor, this is Kade, and today we're talking about trophy hunting and why we think it is so beneficial for hunting, for conservation, for the animals itself.
Absolutely. One of the big things we want to do with this podcast is this segment, Setting the Record Straight. We want to take some extremely controversial topics and give our honest opinion on it. Now, some of you are going to disagree with some of these things for obviously a million different reasons. But this is in our experience in hunting in primarily Arizona, but mostly, truthfully, Mexico. We've hunted some other states as well, but in our area, these are the opinions that we believe. And some of these things might not necessarily be true in other parts of the world, but these are the opinions that we've got for where we're hunting. And I believe that we're really good at what we do. And so this is the start of that.
Exactly. I think most importantly is be educated yourself. Don't believe me. I'm 22 years old. Why would you believe me? Go inform yourself, be educated on your own personal opinions, and therefore you can have an actual opinion on what I guess we're talking about. But don't just believe some kids. Just kidding, we're not kids anymore. But don't believe some kids that are sitting behind a camera, just yapping at you. But we're gonna dive right into it. And trophy hunting, why we think it's so beneficial. I guess we wanted to just break it down, like extremely simple. Trophy hunting, yes, horns, antlers, they come into play, but most importantly, the age is what we're concerned with when we talk about trophy hunting.
Well, one of the things that I want to do, and really quickly, everybody has a different opinion of what trophy hunting actually is. Now, in my opinion, and correct me if you believe something different, but I believe that trophy hunting is more than just the horns.
Agreed.
Right? There are deer, right? If we can take let's take a 170 mule deer, right? I am going to have a better experience, and in my mind, I'm going to appreciate it a lot more if it's an animal that we've watched for several years. We have lots of experience hunting, and we've really, really worked for it. That animal is a bigger trophy than if it was the exact same deer that we just happened to be driving down the road with a tag in our pocket on our way to a glassing point. He's out in the middle of the field feeding. We get out and we crank him opening morning. So to me, the trophy isn't just about the horns. The trophy is about the trophy experience. It's about, there's deer that are on this wall that honestly, they're irreplaceable to us, not because of the horns and because of that stuff. We're going to kill it. We've killed a lot of deer. We're going to kill a lot more deer, but it's the memories that go along with them. Yeah. So they have a bigger trophy quality because of the memory. So for me, that's super important to notate. We're not just talking about horns or there's a bear rug hide over here. We've got some other stuff around us that in the rest of the house. It's more than just the physical trophy is trophy hunting is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. A lot of people have this misconception that when we go out trophy hunting, looking for a very mature animal, we saw the horns off and we just leave the animal there in the field. And that's absolutely as far as possible from the truth. In Arizona, it's illegal. In most states, it's illegal.
I believe every state.
Every state
could be wrong.
To waste the meat of these animals. And so absolutely, the meat is it's precious to us because we love it. We eat the meat. We respect the animal for, giving us its meat as well. So 100% that is not a thing. That's a complete myth, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. And I mean, let us know your opinions. And again, none of this is absolutely factual. It's factual according to Manhunts. It's our opinion. It's our stance on some of these topics. I believe firmly that trophy hunting is by far the best form of hunting, as well as the best form of management in any species of animal that I can think of. Now, we did a poll on our YouTube. We did this poll a little over a day ago. Currently, it's got 118 votes. 41% of those votes say that trophy hunting is the best. 59% say that meat hunting is the best. Now, we asked, what is the best form of hunting? Now, those are the only two options. Those are really the only two real options that we could think of. There's some other people that might disagree.
Complete anti-hunting, maybe.
Correct, yeah.
No hunting at all.
But we had some interesting comments. We had somebody that said you can't eat the horns. We had somebody that said...
which is true.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't eat these. I mean, I guess you could.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. We had somebody said, why not both? Main goal is always meat, but not against a sweet head on the wall. Now, I agree with that too. I agree with that too. There's absolutely a way to do both at the same time. That's actually what I commented, and I stand by that opinion. Somebody else commented that there's more meat on a big buck. Now, that's true. In my experience, that's true almost 100% of the time.
Yes.
With our Coues deer, a giant-bodied Coues deer is going to be, what's the biggest one that we've weighed? 121 pounds? Is that?
No, mid-20s.
Mid-20s, so like 125.
Yeah.
We did have a buck like that.
Yeah, but for a mature buck, give or take 120 pounds. Now, for an immature buck, we don't shoot a lot of immature bucks down there.
They might only be 100 pounds.
They might only be 100 pounds, but do the math. 20 pounds on a Coues deer, it's a
lot of weight that you add.
What's the math on that? 20%. 20% of its body weight.
You had a bunch.
Yeah. So, age, yes, there's going to be a lot more meat on the buck.
Absolutely. You get more meat to eat off of a big mature animal. And a lot of the time people ask us, hey, trophy hunting, you're only shooting the biggest racks, and however, the biggest thing that we do every single year is we only kill mature deer. That's the whole goal. And we've said it for a long time that I'd rather shoot a 5.5-year-old, 108 kind of deer than a 2.5-year-old 115. Because it doesn't make sense.
They don't get that big at 2.5.
Well, I'm just saying.
3.5.
In the event,
Yeah.
You get more meat, you get more of a trophy out of an older animal.
Yeah.
So the guys that come out, I'm just meat hunting, you crank a spike opening morning, come on. A spike Coues deer, let alone, how much is a yearling?
I don't even want to know how much it weighs.
60 pounds? They're not heavy.
No. So 100%. Not only that, you let the animal reproduce. Is a big thing as well. You let it spread its genes, so that you can continue to have good genes in your gene pool. So I think that trophy hunting, when you actually break it down, is really just the best way to conserve an animal population. Back in November, we're in December now, but back in November, Colorado had Proposition 127 to prohibit big cat trophy hunting for the general public. And 54.7% of the population said no, and then 45.3% said yes. So it lost, but what they were trying to do was they were trying to prohibit cat hunting, bobcats, mountain lions, I don't think lynx, because I think lynx are...
I think they're protected.
I think they're protected, but...
One of the big arguments for it was saying that, you don't kill a lion for the meat. And I will tell you, Dude, Tim, our dad...
Yes.
We call him Dude.
Call him Dude.
He's killed 2, and I will tell you, I will argue with anybody that mountain lion meat is one of the best animals that I've ever eaten. It tasted so good.
Bison, mountain lion.
100%. And I prefer it over elk.
Maybe tied with elk, maybe.
I don't know. It's so good. And so that claim is completely false because we ate every bit of it, including the tail meat off of these animals, mountain lions. So.
Yeah. But essentially they're just trying to get rid of mountain lion hunting or bobcat hunting, which is going to have an effect on your deer and elk populations, because it's all about, this fine balance. And when you just completely get rid of lion hunting, you protect them, but then you continue killing deer, and so then there's more lions to kill
it's actually more pressure on the deer.
Yeah, so it is kind of worse for the deer.
I believe too that trophy hunting gives out better management incentives, right? If somebody is managing a piece of property, we've got what's our biggest ranch in Mexico right now? It's like 150 square miles.
Yeah.
We only have 8 tags on that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've ever killed 8 deer in a single year.
Well, it just got bumped to 8. So,
it just got bumped. It was 7. Last year was the first year of 8. Prior to that, it was 7. And even still, I don't know that there's been a single year where we've killed 7 deer off of that ranch.
Well, correct. I think we have, maybe once or twice, but
we've had it for 13 years.
The Mexican government, the conservationists or whatever, the Game and Fish of Mexico gives out an UMA number. And so this 150 square miles that we have is also a bunch of different ranches. It's not one ranch. And so for one ranch, you could have 12 and 8 and 4 and 16. And so we're not even hunting even close to the
believe
UMA
our
number,
full new UMA number is pushing 20 tags.
which would absolutely decimate this Coues deer population as far as trophy quality, mature bucks. There would just be none on the entire. If we went and killed 20.
And that's just proving my point exactly. Is if we were just saying, hey man, we got 20 tags to fill, or in the scenario we only are hunting 7 or 8, we have 8 tags to fill, and we go out and we crank 8 deer. We make sure that we hit that number. That's not good for our deer management, And so we go out there and we're setting out hundreds of trail cameras every year. We're working countless of hours. We've brought in additional water corrals and water supply so that these deer can have water. It's in a desert, so there's not a lot of water opportunity for these deer, and so a lot of the time these deer, they can't survive. There's places that if we took the water out that we put there, deer would die because they don't have water.
Or move.
Or die or
probably
move.
Just be moved.
But if they move and now another area is overpopulated with deer, there's not enough water to support the deer in that area, then there would be deer that ultimately die from that. It's a domino effect that we remove this section of water, so they move to here. Well, now there's not enough water for all the deer, so it progressively, it's just a domino effect. And so if you look at the ranch that we've had, our longest ranch we've had, this will be year 13.
Lucky 13.
Yeah, so it'll be year 13. There are more deer on the ranch now than ever before. And it's a drought year right now. It's one of the hardest years that we've had down there. And there's more deer than ever before because we've been managing this property to support more deer, as well as managing the property to lower the predator population, as well as managing the property to grow the bigger deer. There's more mature deer. There's a lot of ranches down in Mexico. We've got a couple that we're waiting on that they're not getting hunted right now because they need rest. They've been shot out in the past, and they just need a few years to come back from that.
Yeah.
So trophy hunting, it gives it the incentive to want to do those things. I could go down there every single year by myself, and I could tag out. If I was just shooting the first legal buck that I saw, I could kill 8 deer in probably just a couple days and be done.
Yeah.
But that's not how we do it.
100%. Also, part of that is managing the predators. Lions and tigers and bears. Not literally, but mountain lions and coyotes down there and bobcats are a very big factor on deer populations. Obviously, there's a billion different ways to manage predators, but when we started to manage the predators, when we started to try and kill more coyotes, we think that's the most, the most prominent predator, I don't know how to explain it.
There's lions, but people way overestimate the number of deer that lions kill.
But coyotes, man, coyotes kill a lot of deer, a lot of fawns. And so managing the coyotes mainly, we've seen just an astronomical change in the deer numbers. Obviously, you're not going to completely eradicate the earth of coyotes. And I think that there's a line between hunting and trophy hunting and extermination. A lot of people they think of hunters as, man, they're just gung-ho. They want to shoot everything and they just want to eradicate the earth of every single buck out there. And I think that is also completely false. We love these animals. We want to help these animals. And ultimately, we do. We help to conserve them. We give them water. We give them food. We give them a safe haven. And, it's also that we can harvest mature bucks. But, ultimately the whole population is kind of lifted up a little bit because of that.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things, and I actually learned this, we were doing some research for this particular topic. One of the things that I learned actually is, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know that it was this bad. In 1930s, they did an estimate to believe that nationwide in the United States, there was about 300,000 deer. That's it. Currently, they believe that nationwide, there's a little over 30 million deer nationwide, right? And at the time that they took this poll is one of the times that they decided that, hey, we're going to start doing this to help conserve the wildlife. And the hunting conservation is what brought that back. And that was the hunters and the hunting community were the biggest attributors to that effort to bring back these deer. It's believed that just in Texas, I believe they're killing more than 300,000, or that there's more than 300,000. Not that they're killing. I believe there's more than 300,000 deer just in Texas. I mean,
yeah.
In some of the places there, so it's like some of these efforts, people don't understand that. The money that comes from hunting and conservation, there's like, I don't know the exact number in Arizona, but there's thousands. There's like 10,000 tags that they give out every year, and for a resident, it's like $45, $55 for a tag. That's a bunch of money that goes to them. Arizona foolishly just got rid of the auction tags, which that was like millions of dollars.
Story for a different day.
Right, but there was people like some of these animals were selling for $500,000, $750,000 for one tag, and people argue that, oh my goodness, that's so bad, and it's like, well, but that money goes into the conservation of all of the other animals. That goes into the conservation of the wildlife in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so not only does that money go to the conservation of the animals, it also goes to the community, right? And so the hunting industry is, it's I believe it's like I'll have to look it up. Can you look up how much money is in the hunting industry? But that goes into the community, and there's millions and millions of dollars every year spent on just hunting, and so it's like absurd. But that doesn't just go to the tags. It doesn't just go to buying animals. That also goes, how much is it?
Hunting, this is just Sportsman's Alliance .org. But hunting generates more revenue for $45.2 billion than the worth of the top 10 most valuable MLB teams combined.
Okay.
$33 billion.
Okay. So
The revenue generated by migratory bird hunting, 5.9, is more than the revenue of top 10 most valuable NFL teams combined. So hunting is
billions.
big industry.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Holy cow! I didn't.
huge. So
Yeah.
hunting is a $42 billion industry. That's insane. So you take that and you look at it. That's a lot of money going into the consumers, other companies for camo, bows, packs, optics, all that stuff. I mean, Tricer tripods. I mean, all of that stuff is ultimately it's part of the economy. It's a big portion of the economy.
It's jobs.
It's jobs as well.
Jobs.
When we go down to Mexico, a lot of our ranches, when we get groups that come down and hunt, have a cook. Some of these places have guides that are local guides. We pay cowboys that are local Mexican cowboys throughout the year that they help us to maintain these ranches and do some of these things. So all of that stuff for these guys, it's jobs, it's career, it's food on their table, it's food on for their kids, it's putting a roof over their head. So it's more than just paying for a deer. In some areas it's supporting their community. I know Africa is very very similar. There's civilizations over in Africa that are held up that a lot of their money comes from the hunting industry. So that's
even in Mexico. I mean, tourism is, I think, the third most profitable, like economically, for the state of Sonora. Tourism also includes hunting, and so hunting is just it's beneficial, for people, for families, for jobs, and for everything like that as well.
Yeah.
So
the ranch owners, I mean, we pay a lot of money to have these rights to hunt and manage these ranches, and the agreements with the ranch owners. A lot of times there's a lot of moving parts to it, and there's a lot of people in these Mexican communities that profit very much off of our these tags that we're buying from them and that we're selling to our clients and stuff like that. And it's all trophy hunting. We ask that our hunters that they do hold out. They try to hunt trophy animals, not just any random deer. So one of the big things that I think too, where people really get it wrong, is they're saying, "Oh, you're only doing it because you enjoy killing deer." And don't get me wrong, I enjoy that, like that moment when the deer comes in, you get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I enjoy
it is
it.
fun.
However, I enjoy the process.
Everything about it.
I mean, we play games all the time that, Connor, look at this picture. It's a really blurry, really bad angle picture of this buck from 4 years ago. What's this buck and where was he? And,
I can tell you.
And we play that game all the time.
I can tell you.
There's deer that we've watched grow up from 2.5 years old, and they're 8.5 now. And we've watched them. We know these deer. We're very, very well aware of these deer. And
this deer right here.
That's one of them.
This deer, I mean, the whole experience behind this deer is I swore off this deer. He was so ugly. And truth is, he kind of is ugly. Super narrow, super long beams, giant G2s. But I swore off him. I said, I'm never going after this buck. And he came at least 8.5. We have pictures of this buck from 3.5, we think, to 8.5. And so, we have pictures of this buck for a long time. 5 years of our ranch, nearly half of our time on the ranch. And I hated him. I was like, I'm never going to kill him. And he came back this past year, and I wanted him. And so, just the whole experience, yes, he's a trophy buck. He's not the biggest buck I'll ever kill. He's not the biggest buck I have killed, but man, he's just a real pretty buck. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I have that, story, that experience to tell other people. So, it's more than just a set of horns on the wall,
When we find shed antlers of bucks that are known, this last season, or on the last trip down there, you actually got to hold for the first time one of Chubbs' sheds. The deer that Drew Miles killed with us this last season down there. One of the sheds was found off of him. And
I got to hold it.
So cool to be able to hold it and close out some of the stories on these deer.
And our, the cowboy, we are like, yes, thank you, Chewy,
it's phenomenal. And
maybe not say the name.
You guys,
yeah, thank you.
you guys found the buck. One of the cowboys put it on the fence, but it was actually one of the guys that was hunting with us, Barry. He's Drew Miles' father-in-law. Great guy.
That was the number one.
It was his
buck.
number one buck.
He killed a buck.
He killed a buck.
It's right here.
He
killed this buck right here.
He killed that buck there.
It's at the taxidermist Dan Lee's. He's almost ready for it. But his number one. Truth is, they're probably about the same size. I think we measured the number one buck at 99 7/8.
Yeah. So, but he's chipped. But regardless,
he's broke like probably an inch.
That was his number one deer. And, so this buck, we got like 2 sets of pictures of him. Never saw him again. Always kind of wondered, like, man, what happened to him, whatever. But
he died.
Being able to close out that story on a deer that, is kind of a head scratcher is really cool,
Yeah.
And so I, to a certain extent, enjoy that just as much as actually pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
I just went up to Colorado with Drew Miles. We were filming as a Colorado mule deer hunt, and 3 deer in 3 days. It was a blast. I didn't pull the trigger a single time, but I had a blast being there, being a part of the process. I had a blast in Mexico this last year. I didn't kill a deer. This is actually will be my 4th year. I've gone 3 years in a row without killing a deer. I've hunted some giant deer. Bucks that are touching that 130 number, bucks that are well into the 120s, and a buck that's just under, in the mid to high teens.
Yeah.
And those are the bucks that I'm hunting. Those are, for most people, those are once in a lifetime coos deer. But I, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. So hopefully this year,
not only that, you passed probably 3 or 4 deer over these 4 years.
100 inches.
Yeah, in that 90 to 105-ish number mark. And so, those are bucks that most people will shoot, but they're just not mature. We know, that they're young, that they're immature, and so we're holding out. And so it's just part of the game. Sometimes you don't kill bucks.
Absolutely. You're going to kill less deer if you're just trophy hunting.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's better for the deer population. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You want to do it, but I enjoy the process. There's Ceja is a buck we call Ceja, Spanish for eyebrow, but we got him at 2.5 and
giant. I passed him at 2.5. And at 2.5, this buck is probably tickling 100 inches, which is just astronomical.
At 3.5, he comes back, trash
freaking
all over the place.
Drop time.
A 6-inch drop time,
Dude,
just trash
this buck,
monster.
He's probably got like a 102-inch mainframe with like 8 to 12 inches of trash. And so, he's in the teens as a 3.5-year-old buck.
But we put him on a do not hunt list.
Do not shoot. And then at 4.5, he came back with a big old mainframe, some kickers.
Split main beams out in the front.
Split main beams that are probably scoreable. We don't know.
Giant
big
3x3. He's mid to high 20s, 120 kind of buck for sure.
He's pushing that magic number for sure.
I hunted him very, very hard. I hunted him for 2 weeks, sitting all day to no avail. He's one of the bucks that I hunted hard for, but we let him get to that age. He had the mega giant potential, but if you shoot them at the young age, then they don't get there. And so,
truth is, he was coolest at 3.5. It wasn't his biggest, but he had a big old drop time on him. Like I'm like not even joking, like this big.
Yeah.
And just a pretty buck, dude.
And so to us, it's the process, and I think I would argue to anybody that to me the process and the story, Connor sometimes refers to it as dad lore.
Dad lore. Hashtag dad lore.
That I think has just as much of a trophy, if not more so, than the horns or the hide or the mounts.
Yeah, I still talk about hunts that, I didn't kill nothing, or I killed a cow elk, and our dad, dude, he got us lost on my cow elk hunt. I was 10. I swore, man, he got us lost.
We'll have to have him on to argue about that. But
Yeah,
he got us lost.
He got us lost. There's no doubt about it. We're alive. I don't know how, but
no, and he'll argue that story a little bit differently because we were all like 10 and 11. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
But 100%. We're gonna wrap it up. We've been here for a while, but ultimately, this is just our opinion. Go educate yourself, and just get outside. Just go hunting, man. Just go experience some nature for yourself. Go kill a big buck. Go kill a big doe. Whatever, man. Just do whatever makes you happy at the end of the day.
Get out there, learn to love the process, and really just enjoy it. And enjoy the time out in nature. Enjoy all that stuff. But regardless, our opinion still stands firm that trophy hunting, inarguably, by a long shot, is the best form of hunting and conservation. So,
correct.
I think for us, for me, unless there's anything you'd like to add, I think that'll do it for us for today. Let us know your comments. What do you guys think? Do you completely disagree? Do you think we're both idiots? And tell me why. Tell me how much you hate me in the comments. I can't wait to hear it.
Don't swear, though. You'll owe us money in the swear jar.
Yes.
Should we have a swear jar? Just kidding. Sorry.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think. We had a blast. If there's anything that you would like us to discuss on here, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and maybe we'll give it a go. Have a little discussion about it, and that'd be really cool. So
yeah, like, comment, subscribe. It's free. Helps us. That's about it. Anyways,
well, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And always appreciate it. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys later.
Maybe.